previously scheduled vacation. That being said, are there any other additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda by fellow board members or department heads at this time? None. This agenda will stand as presented, and though we have nothing for the sheriff's report, is there anybody in the audience that has anything for our sheriff's office? None? Okay. Nothing under unfinished business. That is going to take us to new business. I'm going to turn that over to our administrator, Mrs. Campbell.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be trustee Lino. My computer does not have the agenda or any of the meeting attachments with it. So with that, I would like to introduce Mark Wessner and Lisa Brown with Huntington Insurance. They are going to go over our health plan renewal and the summary of offers, some of our plan performance, and their renewal recommendations for the township. Yeah, I made copies, just ignore the copy because my printer didn't print very well. You won't be able to read the attachments, so I apologize. Lisa Brown's, on the other hand, printed very well.
Okay.
What the heck?
How you doing, Mark?
I'm well. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
And I think there's 2 union members in the audience. If they could each get a copy, that would be appreciated too, Lisa. Okay. Oh, you gave Mike one. I think we just need one more then, right? See how I look out for you, BJ?
Alrighty.
Yeah.
There's that, and there's that.
Thank you. Well, I'll start by, I'm Mark Wessner with Huntington Insurance, and health insurance consultant. And I'll start by saying it's great to be here again with you this year. And I will also say that we have a lot to talk about tonight. Some decisions that are going to need to be made. And I don't want to get me upset. It's a favorable renewal, but I'm going to show you some options to mitigate risk in the future that I want you to consider that will ultimately be in the best interest of the township. So if we can start out with the memo, that's the, it starts out with summary of offers. So what we've done as Huntington Insurance Consulting, we've gone to the market. Market meaning insurance companies, third-party administrators, consortiums, just a variety of vendors that are available out there, as well as the incumbent healthcare. Excuse me. So we went to 13 carriers. We received 8 offers and 5 declines due to them, the carrier saying, we don't think we'd be competitive. We're looking at current rates, we're looking at what you have today, and all that, so we're going to pass on it. We also have 2 alternate funding options for review, future consideration, or future review. Pardon me. And what I'd like to state now is, if you decide that you want to, do a deeper dive on this later in the week or next week or whatever, on some of these other offers or later in the future, I'm happy to come back and sit down and spend as much time as you'd like. So the summary of plan performance, the plan is running well. 2015 to 2016 in this plan year. Net paid claims are only slightly above the previous year. which is one of the reasons that we received some pretty aggressive offers. So we're up about 1.3%. Prescription drug plans have trended downward about 3.2% per member per month, and the average paid claims per prescription is reduced to 14.6%. And that simply means that the employees that are on the plan, the plan participants, are looking for less expensive, less costly drugs, and that is due in part to, a large part to the changes we made last year. So we spent some time, at least the CAML was involved, helping us manage the program, kind of back and forth, and trustees as well. We had a lot of dialogue. We had a lot of recommendations on different tiers as far as generic and brand and specialty drugs and all that. I'm sure most of you will remember that. But it is turning out to be effective for the plan. Excuse me. Summary of options. So we have various competitive offers and several offers that are worth future consideration in preparation for the 2017 renewal. Those being the Jefferson Health Plan and the Roundstone Captive. So the reason that I say here that they are opportunities for the future is just there's a lot going on there as far as a risk, self-funding, a consortium, a pool, a variety of different pieces and parts, and there's a lot of gears turning in there. Not that there's not in this plan, but that this is a self-funded plan, partially self-funded. It's not fully insured. If I was showing you a fully insured option, you can say, okay, Mark, we want to do that. It's 6-1 and away we go. Self-funding is a little different because you have run-out plans. Different administrator, different stop loss, all that kind of stuff. But, I have 4 groups right now with the Jefferson Health Plan. It's a very viable option, and I'm not saying that all care is no good. Far from it. They've basically given us good options, good opportunities, and worked with us well again this year. All care is a very good plan. But this, again, it's my duty, it's incumbent upon me to show the options. So I'm saying in that second bullet, the option from UHC, which is United Healthcare, and HCC, which is a large stop loss company, is very, very competitive, but would necessitate a network change. It would necessitate moving away from Altman Healthcare to the current network that you enjoy today. And total fixed dollar savings versus the Healthcare renewal is $5,634. Now, the differential has diminished from where we started, and I'll show you that in just a minute.
Just to interrupt, that $5,600 to do an entire network change, in my opinion, but again, it's the board's opinion that counts, is not enough to do an entire network change.
Well, I wholeheartedly agree, because you're going to have, clearly there'll be provider changes.
Yes.
People that are not network. Altman would, for example, not be non-network, they'd be Mercy. Mercy Hospital in Canton would be Affinity and so forth. So there would be quite a bit of disruption. But what happened in this process, and most certainly happened many times, both in insurance as well as in the private sector, is here's what we have, these are opportunities. We go back to the incumbent and say, this is what we're looking at. And show them the competition, show them the competitive offers we have, and it helps get us where we need to be in the case.
Well, does that group have the transplant option, or would we have to purchase it?
That has the transplant option in it.
Okay.
So, the renewal recommendation. So Huntington Insurance recommends that Plain Township trustees renew the health plan with Healthcare. Huntington Insurance was able to negotiate a reduced renewal offer at the current specific deductible level of $35,000. Specific deductible level, just touch on that for a second. That's the deductible that the township health plan pays before the insurance company starts paying on any one person in any year. Okay. So the $35,000 deductible was the original offer to match what we currently have. It was going to increase. The original increase was 12.57%, and we were able to get that revised downwards due to market pressure, our negotiating meetings, Lisa and I and Lisa Brown meeting with Allcare and having discussion and just a variety of things that goes into the process. So down to 6.3%. I would say that everything that you see cited, or that we see cited in the marketplace today, trend, leverage trend, inflation and utilization and so forth, is in the 10-12% range. Probably the average renewal we see out of the gate is somewhere in the neighborhood of 12, 13, low teens. And that's before negotiation. The plan is on changes. What's really, excuse me, I think very positive in this renewal is we're saying it's a 6.33% increase with no changes in benefits. No deductible changes, no co-insurance changes, no reduction in coverages at all. So we're illustrating the option for both the current $35,000 deductible and the $40,000, and I skipped a line there. But the modification that we're recommending that you consider is a no new laser at renewal. Okay? So that gets a little bit more complicated, and I'll just take a minute and talk about that. So today, with a $35,000 specific deductible, if you have a very large plan, the plan will pay the first $35,000, the insurance company pays the remainder. Okay? And you'll remember that under the Affordable Care Act, there are no lifetime maximums anymore, and there are no annual maximums. So there can be some pretty extraordinary claims that come in the door. So insurance is for an unknown risk. So when it becomes a known risk, carriers will look at it and say, we're going to need a rate to that. We think Mark's going to have $600,000 in bills next year. I know of one claim that was $12 million. One person, 1 year. But it wasn't paid, it was negotiated and discounted and so forth, so it was a lot less than that. But where I'm headed with this is, when an insurance company comes to us and says, well, we're going to need a laser, and that terminology is because of the surgical implication of taking a person in a group and saying that Mark only would have a deductible of $300,000. The rest of the group, everybody else in the group would be $35,000. Okay? But because of the increased risk and the known risk on Mark or Bill or Tom or Fred or whoever it is, we need to put a higher specific deductible on it because it's a known risk. So what we've been doing is huddling up with the carriers, having discussions and saying, look, I don't want a laser. I want to preclude that. I want that to be able to happen at my next renewal. So to do that, all carriers quoted it for us, and you'll see it in your own spreadsheet in a moment. It's about an additional 7% of premium. And they can cap, the renewal is capped maximum 50% increase in new premium, or in premium at renewal. So the first thing we think about is, well, gee whiz, we're paying $200,000 in premium. That means we could go to $300,000 in premium, an extra $100,000. That could be a way better option than a $300,000 or $400,000 laser on the person. So what it does is gives us the option to say, we'll accept that. We'll pay more premium because we know this person is going to have, or this person and this person and this person are all going to have very expensive treatment. So we'll accept that. We'll pay a 50% increase in premium. Or we can say, we're pretty confident that this is not going to happen. So we'll roll the dice. We'll take the laser. We'll take a higher specific deductible on Mark Weston. We'll keep the money in our pocket, and we'll pay it if it happens. We have that option. And by the way, that's what you're paying me for. To assess that, to negotiate that, to get involved with the carriers, to understand what's going on with those medical conditions, and to advise you, which we'll certainly do, if that arises. Okay? So as we were looking at this, the thought became, how can we make this maybe a little bit more affordable? And one way to do that is to increase the specific deductible from $35,000 to $40,000. And you'll see here in a moment that the original offer from 35 to 40 was a substantial savings. It was a 14% reduction in premium. And that would allow the township, if you went to a 40,000 specific, to take that same 6% increase and have the no new laser renewal built in. Okay, so it's kind of a wash. A little higher specific deductible, pick up the no new laser renewal, the worries kind of go away out there in the next year or two of renewal. So, any questions so far? If we jump into the spreadsheet, we kind of look through these a little bit. And we're going to go back to page, they're all page 1, how about that?
They're all important.
That was a test. So let's go back to page 5. And at the top, that's the one with the 2 yellow blocks. Everybody good? So what we do, I mean, we do a very extensive analysis of the financials. And this, I definitely need my readers for this one. But you'll see column 1, you'll see the current plan, 35,000 specific deductible, contract type is 1215, covers medical and drug. And by the way, hats off to everybody here this evening, because you added last year drug into your stop loss coverage. And if you were in the room last year with me, you'll remember me talking about the cost of specialty medications, some of the extraordinary costs and some of the specialty meds for like multiple sclerosis, for arthritis, for hepatitis. And those are life-saving drugs, but they're very expensive. So that coverage wasn't in your stop loss before. It is now, and you made a very wise decision to do that, so hats off. So when we move down to the annual fixed cost in the orange line, you'll see it's $237,675. The original renewal was to go to $267,540, or 5.7% increase, which is what we talked about just a little bit ago. The 35,000 specific, in the next column, at 2B, it says negotiated renewal, down to $252,718, or 6.3% increase. So that in and of itself is a renewal that's below the standard market, and the things that we discussed earlier. And if you go down to the next line, and I'm not really sure what they call it, a fuchsia. As far as color, because the aggregate, because the maximum costs of claims are being capped and is reducing there under the modified or negotiated renewal, it's actually an overall reduction of 0.12%. And the annual projected costs are just about a wash. So that was the negotiated renewal. That was the second or third go around, I'm not really sure. And then I ended up getting about another 6 proposals from Allstate. So option 3 was where we said, all right, so how do we deal with that potential laser issue, the higher deductible? And you'll see that if you say, well, let's go down on column 3 to the orange line, it's a 12.28% increase. So all the things that we did, all the negotiating, everything kind of pays off there, because we would see a 6% increase to add the no new laser renewal. So we're back to where we started. If the trustees say, you know, we like that 35,000 specific deductible level, we like the no new laser renewal, it's 12%. So then the option just to the right of that, 4A, is a 40,000 specific deductible with no new laser renewal. It does not have that protection. And this is here just to illustrate what happened is the specific premium, and that would be under specific stop loss, annual premium. I'm contrasting column 3 at $229,035 with $200,896. Okay? So that's the reduction that All-Care is passing on to the trustees, to the Plain Township, for moving up that specific deductible by $5,000. So the rule of thumb in the industry has always been, if you can save in premium 3 specific deductible differentials, 3 or 4, it's goodbye. So we're going up potentially right there, 5,000, saving 30 grand, about 6. So they came out of the gate pretty strong.
So how many people would we need to meet that specific?
To make it a bad deal, you'd have to have 7.
And I have to say, on our bad years, I don't think we've had more than 3 or 4. I don't even know that it's been 4. I don't think it's been 3.
More than 3.
Yeah,
So-
And 2 to hit hard, right.
yeah, I don't think
Same
we've had
periods.
3. I mean, more than 3.
So, and that, for a group of your size, that would be a pretty, I won't say bad year, but it'd be an active year to have 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's been 3 for our tops.
So a little bit of the glimmer comes off of this. When we move over to 4B and we say, yep, Mark, we agree with what you're saying here, and you know, we're gonna cover this risk with a no new laser, can't have a laser, can't have a higher specific deductible on any individual person, then that margin goes from 6 down to 3. Okay? Because we're saving less premium because we're adding coverage for that no new laser option. All right? So you'll see there the premium, and by the way, it's still warm. They just took another reduction yesterday, All-Care. We dropped another, I don't know, $1,500 or whatever, but it's $212,958.
But the 4B alternate option is
Yes.
still less than the negotiated renewal.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that happened yesterday.
Yeah, like $2,000, does that sound right?
Sorry?
By about 2,000?
Yes, for the fixed cost.
Yeah. And then you will also see that when it's all said and done, all the way down to the bottom, it's almost a flat renewal versus current. Get that? So no new laser renewal, 50% rate cap, moving to a 40,000 specific deductible, and it's almost flat versus where we are. On the total overall, on the fixed, it's up 5.49%.
Sorry.
Any,
Sorry.
I'm sorry?
No, we were just, okay.
So we'll let that rest for just a moment if we can. And you'll see that in column 5, 6, and 7, this is Huntington. We have All-Care at the top on 5 and 7, and you'll see Midwest, U.S. Fire, QBE. These are carriers that we have relationships with, and we go to the market, stop loss carriers, and this is the plug and play. We go to them, get a quote, you know, get it firm and solid and all that, and then we would plug it into All-Care. Okay? They're shopping, we're shopping. I mean, it's like going to the mall, right? There's a lot of things going on. So they're all competitive.
But 7 is just medical only, it's not medical and prescription.
7 is medical and drug on the specific, medical only on the aggregate. You're right.
Okay, yeah.
You're right. And there's, in these, I didn't get too carried away with it. If you'll turn the page, which is rare for me, if you'll turn the page, you'll see column 9. I'll direct your attention to that. So this is what we talked about earlier. This is HCC and UMR. United Medical Resources is a TPA that is owned by United Healthcare. Very large, very strong third-party administrator. They serve the same function as All-Care. HCC Life is Houston Casualty Corporation, the third largest stop-loss writer in the United States, and they do about $940 million in premium a year. So we have great relationships with both of these, as well as all the folks on these pages. So you'll see what HCC did. They came out of the gate with $175,817 in stop loss premium. So, you know, any carrier will want to know what the competition looks like. So this is really what helped us to negotiate where we need to be, as well as your experience, as well as the plan running well and all the different pieces and parts. You'll see at the bottom there, though, there's a highlighted $12,000 line. And that $12,000 will be, and when I said I didn't get quite as detailed as sometimes I do, that $12,000 needs to be in every other quote other than the current alt-care quote, because that is for a transplant carve-out policy. And what that means, I know I'm throwing a lot at you here, but a transplant policy that's fully insured, here goes Mark again, the doctor in the medical community says that I need a transplant for whatever. So instead of you paying your $35,000 deductible and having all those claims hit your experience, my claims right out of the gate become fully insured, just like I was with medical mutual or anthem or whatever, a fully insured policy. Okay, so it's just lifted right out of your experience and right off your hands. A separate company medically manages it. People go to the Center of Excellence. I mean, it's very, very high quality, good stuff, okay? So the reason I'm showing it there is I would have to buy that outside of this contract. It's not included. It is included in alt care, okay? So I just wanted to make a level playing field here when I illustrated it for you. So the whole point that I'm getting to is there's a lot of activity here. There's a lot of good options here. But alt care really came through. That's again, we did last year as well. But with a no new labor renewal, with the transplant carve-out policy fully insured, the variety of things that they've done, I think they've offered a nice opportunity for the concept. The last page is, I'll direct your attention to columns 10 and 11. You know, I'm not advocating, I'm not saying, hey, we have to run out and change to these carriers, but it's something that is worth discussing. It's worth digging into a little bit to the extent that you want to. So the Jefferson Health Plan has been designed specifically for schools, townships, city governments, those types of organizations. They have 20,000 insured lives. They've been in business about 30 years. They're out of St. Clairsville, Ohio. They do it right. They're a good organization. And they closely approximate the captive. And so what does that mean? Well, it means that stop loss premiums are paid, admin fees are paid. You would pay, the township would pay premiums that would be considered a fully insured equivalent. It would look like you were just paying, you know, I'll pick a number off the center, $700 a month for a single and $1,500 for a family. That's what we pay. You know, we're not paying claims each month. We're not getting billed for claims. We're not doing any of that. It's just not being fully insured. So it's a pooled product of all these groups. There's I don't know, 200 groups or whatever in this plan. And there's a big pool where claims are paid out of the pool, and anything above a certain level, like 500,000, they have the stop loss insurance. Okay? So it's a different concept. It is a pool product. There are no lasers. You know, all the right things, and they do a very nice job. And it would potentially help control costs. If experience changes, you pool with other groups, and I'm not going to belabor that right now, but if you want to get together and sit down and talk through it, you know, I'm a terrible artist, but I can do some stuff on the board, how it works, and what it would mean to you, potentially, in the future. And the other one, Roundstone, is a freestanding captive. I'll talk about what captives are and all that when we get together and discuss this. But for now,
I'd like to get together, if the board is okay, with you and Lisa and with our fiscal officer. He's a CPA. I think he'd get a good grasp over both the Jefferson Health Plan in the Brownstone.
That's fantastic.
And I think we could take this, next year and really learn about it and be able to,
Yeah.
I think there's some good options.
Absolutely. We're out there, turning all the stones over, trying to make sure that you have the feel for what's out there and what's available. But as it is right now, for reasons already stated, that in consideration should be all here for another year. With that, I'll end.
And I just want to say, I know we said about no changes to the plan, we are talking with Altman, or AltCare, about, we did have some very high dental claims, and one of them is through orthodontia, and our benefit level is very high in orthodontia, it's like $2,500. So one of the things I'm getting information back and bringing back to the board, and after surveying other entities and the serve report, everybody, and when I mean everybody, it's everybody, is at the $1,500 limit. So that's separate from this, but as far as a plan change, when we're talking plan changes, we're talking the design of this plan. We might see a change in the meat and potatoes in our plan as far as coverage. That's a change that probably will, be presented to the board. But again, that's something, anytime there's a change like that, I think due to the Affordable Care Act, it's a 60-day notice, isn't it? So that's, those kind of changes, that kind of change may still come, and that's specific to orthodontia. But these types of plan changes we're talking about tonight are different from that, and that's just the one specific change that I know that we talked about, because we were off the charts there.
For the 7th year of doing this, this is always a fun thing to do. It's actually in the most facetious of tones, but it's a necessary evil. Mark, I don't necessarily have questions as it relates to what you presented. I really believe AltCare collectively is the best solution as well, because they're a local-based business. It keeps our dollars more locally, which impacts the economy better. What I want to point out, though, for the sake of every township employee and for the sake of the public more so, after having reviewed the 2015 CERB report on the cost of insurance, if anybody should ever take concern with what we pay here in the township, we are well beyond extremely cheap when it comes to deductibles, co-pays, monthly premiums. I'm going to reference a couple numbers here. Again, CERB, this looks at state, counties, cities, township, and breaks them out by population thresholds. Townships, population of 30,000 or more. The single employee contribution, $41. We're right on par, right there. I believe we charge 40. And now, and when I say this, contribution is average monthly medical and prescription premiums. You take a look at the family, we're at 60. Statewide average is $136. That's only 10.5%. To put this into context, I just dealt with our renewal, private enterprise. Employees are paying 25% of their premium.
That's average.
And 25 to 33%. Further, if we want to break this down by the number of employees covered, we fall into that 50 to 99 employees. When you take a look at the average medical, this isn't even medical and prescription, this is medical. Let's see, the single premium, or average employee contribution, $61.24. Family, $172. That's 11.3 and 12%. Let's see here, I've got one more. monthly employee contribution to medical premiums when a contribution is required. The state of Ohio, just so we're benchmarking government against government, so nobody can say, well, hey, we're not private enterprise here. State of Ohio, average premium for a single, 15.1%. We're still about, I think we're right around 9.6, we're not quite 10%. Family premium, 15.8. That's almost 8.5 to 9 basis points difference. When you come down into the townships, again, with a population, 30,000 or more, which is clearly what we're in, single premium, $59. Again, we're at 40, 13.9%. Family, $196, 15.2%. So if anybody wants to put into relation what type of package we provide comprehensively for our employees, bar none, this is far in excess of what even pure governmental agencies are providing, let alone compared to what the private sector. Not sure Mr. Wolf is a private enterprise, you can probably even speak to that a little further, so.
Yeah, the township rates definitely are much less than contributions in the private sector where.
So, I mean, I say all that for the sake that we take this very, very seriously. I mean, the fact that, it would be my recommendation based upon not only what Mr. Wesner has said, but actually for discussion, I would propose that we consider moving forward with option 4A. I mean, I know that says that doesn't have the caption of no new laser, 50% rate cap, but, even based upon our prior laser and what we had dealt with from a net cost and, potential risk, I really think that's the way we should consider going, so.
It's 12 grand difference.
Yeah.
12,000 difference.
Yeah, so John, I guess.
6%. How would that affect us next year at a renewal if we decided to go to that optional plan and we took no laser protection?
So if you went to 4A with a 40,000 specific deductible.
Correct.
Okay, so your new baseline, obviously, pardon me, is $200,000 in premium. Okay. So all of, the renewal calculations and everything next year, we kind of reset the clock. So if Allcare or an insurance company says, well, trend is this and this is where we're getting on our book of business, they would probably start out again at 12 to 14%. Okay, of a lesser number. And then I would go back and do the same thing we've done this year.
It happens every year.
Yeah, pretty much standard. And that's another, additional topics we can discuss during our discussion, as far as the effects of trend, which is inflation utilization, the effects of an individual carrier's book of business, and how it happens if you're running as far as profitability versus the market. There's a lot of factors that go into renewal underwriting and rating. But to answer your question, it would start at the 200 at a percentage of increase, and then we begin the process and make it as good as we possibly can.
And that takes into account the fact that we are going to incur some potential increased risk liability.
Would be the same that we're at now.
Well, 35 versus 40.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, you
Yeah,
got a
If
little
7
bit.
people hit
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And just looking back from our discussion earlier, even when we had 2 that up to 3, I still don't think we had ended up utilizing the laser, did we? Is that something you're not?
Has the laser always been in play, even several years ago, Mark?
I haven't seen any evidence of a laser in your files. Of course, I've only been on your account for 2 years. But I looked at some historical stuff, but I can't say that anything's strange.
But they've had the ability to laser?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And that, everything is negotiable, right?
Yeah. And I think there's some real possibility, but again, every year is a new year with those alternate plans that myself you, Lisa, and Mr. Wolf are gonna look at throughout this next year too. I think some good things are in the works there.
Absolutely. At least some great options.
Yeah.
So, we don't, we're actually below what the negotiated cost.
Yeah.
14,000.
How many people, do you remember how many people hit the 35,000 this year?
3.
3.
Well, one person hit the 35, going by memory here, and it should be either 2 or 3 are at 50%
Okay.
or greater. We haven't had 3 people.
So one person hit,
Yeah.
so it'd be an additional 5,000.
Yeah.
So you need 3 people to hit to equal out. No, I'm just telling you this
But
year.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
the reality is.
No, just
it's
take
just
play the
probability,
numbers, yeah, yeah.
So again, and I think, Mr. Hahn, what you're referencing, when you look at that 4A of 200,000, or almost 201, versus the alt care with the no new laser, that's where you would say potentially you could get 6 hits. Maybe inappropriate,
We know what you mean.
but 6 claims.
Yeah,
uh,
6.
And still be whole.
Yeah.
So,
Which statistically, based on our history
Yeah.
is, it would take a freak of
Oh,
nature.
yeah.
I think it's a reasonable and calculated risk, at least from my perspective.
No, I know Lisa has spent a lot of time crunching these numbers, looking at all the alternate plans. And I think you're comfortable with the 40,000.
Yeah, and I have to really say, Mark really goes to bat for us when that first quote comes and gets those numbers down, because I just want to pull my hair out.
I can't.
No, that's why he has no hair, I think. He really goes to bat to us, and I truly believe he's the reason that it comes down to where it does.
Thank you.
So thank you. But yeah, I think we all feel pretty confident.
And that's almost a 6% annual premium savings from what was initially negotiated at 35. It's about $14,000 difference. Is that accurate?
Mark, do you have anything else for the board? Otherwise, I'll be here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll
Thanks
have
for
a
spending so
resolution
much
that's number
time.
2 if you want to stay.
But thank you very much for
Thank
the.
you.
Thank you very
Very
much.
good.
So that moves into number 2. I have a resolution for the board. Be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to accept the attached proposal with Alt Care to administer Plain Township's medical insurance program for the period of June 1st, 2016 through May 31st, 2017. Alt Care will be the TPA, Alt Care will be for the reinsurer, and Alt Care will be for the network.
I will so move.
Second.
And just as clarification, that is for option 4A.
Yes, with the $40,000 aggregate stop loss.
Correct.
Any further discussion?
And Mark, you'll get, and Lisa, you'll get us all the paperwork, and I'll be okay to get everything out then.
Most certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Stabo?
Yes.
Thank you, and I thank the board again for their time this evening and all the time that you always put into this, so thank you very much. Item number 3 is a resolution by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the purchase and payment of a 2017 Ford Escape for the selling price of $23,943.10. Plus $18.50 for a 45-day tag from Wacom Auto Family to be taken for Fund 01B06A.
I will so move on, new business number 3,
I'll second it.
discussion.
Thank you. This would be a vehicle that Rob Steinberg and myself would share. As the board is aware, I gave my administrator vehicle to the detective, gosh, a very long time ago, I think almost 10 years ago. When I started, as you're aware, our levy does not bring in enough money as it expends, and when we needed a vehicle for the sheriff, I gave mine. Mr. Steinberg also does not, he drives his personal vehicle. It's best that we're both in a township vehicle. So this would be a vehicle that we would both share. It is the same type of vehicle that Vince Aquino, our zoning inspector, drives. All of the options are included. It is the Escape with the SE technology, so it has the navigation on there because we do tend to travel to conferences. It's got the backing up technology and the hands-free option for speaking, which is what is required in our handbook, hands-free.
What was that amount again?
It is,
I don't have it.
yeah, it wasn't on there, so let me go.
It's not
It
in-
is
it's not in.
$23,943.10 plus $18.50. Then comes the CPA, you can add those two together for a total. I can't do that in my head real quick.
6160.
See,
As far as just for the sake of further discussion, again, this is a larger purchase. How many times on average do, say, you or Mr. Steinberg typically have to travel, go out of the township, incur just normal wear and tear on your vehicle, plus do not come back to the board seeking reimbursement typically?
well,
For my.
I'll let Rob go first because he drives constantly. So, Rob,
About every day at whatever properties we're at that day. I'm in and out in the evenings, depending upon the need. I'm in and out a lot during the weekends. And no, I don't claim mileage or anything. Never have.
and just so the board's aware, once I'm 100% healthy, I'll be back to driving full-time. And as you know, I do tend to go to, I'll go to the Ohio Township Administrator Association network conferences, the BWC conferences, Safety Congress. So it would be nice to have a township vehicle to drive. But Rob is in and out all day long.
This mirrors essentially what we do have. John Lennon.
This is state bid?
No, we actually use Wake Up because it is less than state
Yeah.
bid.
This comes with the standard warranty, this doesn't have any
Yeah.
additional,
No,
we don't expect any additional hardware to have to be installed
no.
in this.
No dub rims or,
I'm too old for a speaker system.
What's that?
I'm too old for a speaker system.
and we'll get the proper labeling on there.
Okay.
Do we want to do these at one at a time?
Well, the other one is under zoning.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
It's
it's,
for discussion on this.
Yeah.
All right.
No further discussion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Haas?
Yes.
okay, now my computer's frozen, so I'll just go to your, yeah. Don't, totally frozen.
Here we go.
Okay, so the next resolution is a resolution for our OTARMA insurance. You'll see that they're offering a CDL credit that they do every year in the amount of $550. but it's for our renewal rates for our property, casual, and vehicle insurance for either 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, or 6 million. This year I am recommending that we move, typically we do 3 million, I'm recommending that we move to $4 million and to authorize payment to Otarma in the below distributed funds, as you'll see below.
Also move new business number 4.
I'll second.
Discussion, for the sake of public clarification, Lisa, I know we talked about this earlier, but the reason for recommending moving from 3 million to 4 million, 3 million's been the limit of coverage for, what, at least the last 10
at least 10 years.
10 plus years, taking into account different technology, any type of appreciation of certain assets, that just be able to
Yeah.
keep us whole based upon the thresholds.
Yeah, and it's only about $2,000 different in cost, but with all of the new equipment we've purchased, our updated buildings, new buildings, it only makes sense to go to $4 million at this point.
And the representative, when he was at the county association meeting, he actually recommended
That's
for
good to hear.
people to start looking at what their limits are. Because a lot of people are frozen in time, and
Yeah, they don't
It's
give it
not
much,
realistic.
it just comes up and they just renew
Correct.
where they're at and don't really give it much thought.
Unfortunately, we're talking in millions, that doesn't go too far.
No.
When you have a catastrophic event.
For sure.
If there's no further discussion, roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
yes.
And that's the end of new business.
We will turn it over to our fiscal officer, Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is a request for resolution by the board to authorize the payment of pending warrants in the amount of $117,776.30.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion,
That was kind of-
roll call.
Mr.
I was
Sabo?
giving you some type of promise.
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 2 is a request for resolution by the board to authorize the payment of regular payroll in amount not to exceed $250,000.
I'll move on fiscal officer 2.
Second, discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 3 is a request for resolution by the board to authorize the payment of the following medical claims.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Fiscal Officer number 4 is the financial report.
Should be good to go. If we've got any other questions, we'll follow up with you.
Okay. Fiscal Officer number 5 is a request for resolution by the board to authorize the following transfers.
I'll move on fiscal officer 5.
Second, discussion,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, under road, it should be 04B02. I didn't know if that would make a difference, I'll have to review the resolution.
Okay, make a change. Thank you.
are there any other discussion? Okay, as modified per Mr. Iacino's clarification on the road fund 04B02, I will so move.
Second.
Further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that concludes the fiscal officer report.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. It's going to take us to our administrator, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you. Item number 1 is the resolution that we talked about in the work session this evening to submit to the county auditor the renewal of our police levy with the additional 2 mil. So it'd be the renewal of the 2.25 with an additional 2 mils to constitute a tax of 4.25 mils.
I will so move on administrator number 1.
Second.
discussion for our work session. Nice thorough detail by Lieutenant Springer as well as Administrator Mrs. Campbell. I think is a trustee, and I know, John, through your fire chief service, the meetings you've sat through, and the complaints you've heard, and being trustee now, as well as, I know, Mr. Lino, who's out excused, this is definitely something that our residents deserve the opportunity to consider for moving forward as it ensures the safety and well-being, and obviously given some of the different epidemics outside of the traditional speeding and so forth. I think this is well thought out and planned.
Yeah, it's a good start.
No further discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment to Krugliak, Wilkins, Griffiths, and Doherty for professional services rendered in an amount not to exceed $2,502.07.
I'll move on Administrator 2.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
And that's the end of the administrator report.
Okay, going to take us to the fire department, Chief Snyder.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 1 is the monthly report. As you just note on the front cover there, we had one of the preschool and kindergartners were there back in April. We had over 500 students, preschool, kindergartners, went through the station, all through local schools, private schools, and then also some churches that offered that kindergarten. So there's just a picture of one of the children out there.
Doing a pretty good job hitting the target.
Sign them up.
Did they happen to come through for the testing on Thursday?
Yeah.
If there's no questions, proceed forward.
Thank you. Item number 2 is a resolution to authorize payment in the construction of the new door between the bay doors and rail quarters or Station 4 by Bureau Construction, not to exceed $2,500. In the same exact size and fitting that he did down our Station 2. He did that about a month or so ago, and sealed those doors up so we have a better seal from the weather and the exhaust coming in from that bay area. So we believe in the doors.
Also move on fire number 2.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to take us to the road department, Mr. Iacino.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item number 1 is the monthly report for April. Pretty busy month.
Everybody still love that new street sweeper down there?
Well, they're all done. The whole township has been swept once. Yes.
Okay, next.
Item number 2 is a list of paving and road repair project bids that we received from Central Allied, North Star Asphalt, and Superior Paving. Asphalt did come down $5.50 a ton from last year's paving project. So as you can see, we did save some money for there, so we're able to do 2 more miles of road than we did last year. For basically the same price,
16 or
17 and a half. Basically the same price as last year's. Item number 3 is a resolution to award the 2016 Plain Township paving and road repair project for application of hot mix 448 asphalt milling and pavement markings to North Star Asphalt, the lowest and most responsive bidder.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution for the contract to be prepared for the terms and conditions of the bid specs for the paving program by the Plain Township Board of Trustees to authorize the execution of the contract with North Star Asphalt.
I'll move on Road 4.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 5 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of gasoline, oil, and diesel not to exceed $20,000.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Item number 6 is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a new Caterpillar asphalt paver through state term bid number 8,055 from Ohio Cat in the amount of $96,185, less trade allowance of $4,000 for a total of $92,185.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion. Joe, just to clarify, you've educated the board on this, but just so the public understands, this is essentially replacing a what, early 1980?
1984 model that we've got together with strings and duct tape, but no, it's quite a good model. It's just, this one allows us to do more. We could pave smaller areas instead of having to do 8 foot wide, we would go down to 4 feet wide. It's a lot safer. I brought the pamphlet if you want to see what it looks like. Actually, we're going to get it a lot quicker. At first, we thought it was going to be 3 months, but I think we're going to get it in a couple weeks, from what I heard today. So we did demo that. The guys really liked it. We demoed it a couple weeks ago. So.
This obviously is one of those things that you presented to us as a part of your goals.
Yes, that was on my goals earlier this year.
The benefit of trading in the old equipment, we don't have to find some way to sell it.
From what the mechanics tell me, that I did get a pretty good deal on that price of trading, and we would never get it right sale.
Again, ultimately, outside of this investment, it also helps us save on the back end by keeping the smaller patching and plus quicker turnaround instead of waiting for.
We can get this kind of years out of this model. It's actually very cheap, like $3 a year, $300 a year. Okay.
Roll call?
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 7 is a resolution authorizing the posting of temporary no parking signs for the lacrosse tournament in Diamond Park allotment to be posted on May 13th and be taken down on May 16th.
I'll move on road 7.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 8 is to authorize the posting of temporary no parking signs for the same tournament on the north side of Diamond Street from Middle Branch to Diamond Park, and on Middle Branch from Prospect to Diamond on the west side of the road for the same dates, 13th to the 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 9 is to authorize the posting of temporary no parking for the lacrosse tournament on the streets listed in Diamond Park below to be posted on May 20th and taken down on May 23rd.
I'll move on road 9.
Second. Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And item number 10 is to authorize the posting of temporary no parking on Diamond and Middle Branch for the lacrosse tournament to be posted on May 20th and taken down on May 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to take us to zoning department. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Farrar.
Thanks, sir. Item number 1 will be the monthly report. Before we get into item number 2, if I could, I'd like to address the board. As you're well aware, we have problem properties
in the township that have been habitual problems over the years. And again, as you're aware, we have been trying to put together a plan to address those properties. If I might say right now, Vince has been a wonderful asset to that office. He's been out there beating the weeds. He's knocking on doors, talking to people, getting these properties cleaned up before they come before you. And as you've seen in the last several meetings, he's really doing a great job. He researched, contacted owners and banks of some of these properties, and he has gotten some of them where they're being cleaned up now, where they haven't been over the years. What we plan to do is, and over the past several weeks, we have been visiting those properties at least once a week, just to make sure that they are not high enough to cause a complaint to come in. Those properties are now reaching the 8-inch limit, and we are now beginning to bring them before you. I think what I wanted to leave you with is that it takes time to get the property from the initial letter to a final cleanup. And we're looking at several weeks because of the mandated time limits. So we can get that property started and get it moving, but we can't keep all the phone calls from coming to it. We're trying to do that, but that isn't going to happen yet. So you can anticipate a few of them. With that being said, item number 2 is a resolution to rule as nuisance abatements, item A through C.
I will move on zoning to A through C.
Second.
As far as discussion, I know 2A has obviously been one of the things that always around. I don't know if it was Chief Snyder or Chief Sabo that had the crew up there pumping water out of the foundation.
That was me.
9 yards.
I just got the rat afterwards.
Yeah. I mean, this individual that owns this, I mean, we've tracked down before, though it was difficult. I know the property maintenance code really doesn't do anything for us here, but is there anything that we can really do beyond pushing this? Because it really is frustrating to see people that
What's
just
the issue here that we're abating?
high grass.
High grass.
Seriously, high grass.
We're abating high grass. The home is vacant and boarded up.
Yeah, I mean, we've done everything we can from a structural
She's done
perspective.
enough. I mean, this owner obviously doesn't
Yeah.
take a precedence there. It's just.
Refresh my recollection, is this the one that lived in a hotel at one point? And-
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Utilities are all shut off.
I realize our hand tied for our two different brewery, but I've got to ask the question. just
Sure.
For the sake of, to Tom's office, you have done an exceptional job, because trust me, I know by May of years past, the list is literally 5 to 7 times longer than this. So what we're doing in avoidance through getting that proactive, it's inevitable. The only thing I'm ever going to ask as a trustee is that we follow what the process says. I'm not going to ask anybody to circumvent,
No. Correct.
the process. You're not going to hear anything from me, other than if we're not following it. But the same accolades to Vince, good work,
Yes.
as well as yourself and Vicki to get these things.
Yeah, the last thing we want is to have a technicality that we did not follow the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think when you're talking about high grass and weeds, the unfortunate part of it is to get to that 8 inches.
Yeah.
By the time, that's when you can legally start the process.
Yes.
So that's kind of the word go, and we know that based upon timelines, once go is hit, it's still 2, 3, sometimes even a little bit longer
Yeah.
weeks down the road before it's abated.
Depends on the trustee,
That's
time
right.
of the trustee meeting.
And we have one of those times where there's 2 weeks in between meetings, it could be 4 weeks.
Yeah, correct.
So,
So quite frankly, there's nothing outside of it.
outside of Mr. Lino's idea to spray weed be gone on it on some of these ones, which I've cautioned him against.
Let's just say that's a little bit rare.
He was kidding, for the record.
All right. No further discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 3 is the resolution for nuisance payments on items A through B.
I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Item number 4 is a resolution for the purchase of a Ford Escape SE from Waco Ford for a total of $23,962 out of Fund 13A04.
I will so move.
Second.
Just for discussion, as similar to administration in the past, zoning did have two vehicles. I believe one went to auction or is going to auction, and the other one had been repurposed for use in one of our other departments. It's clear, obviously, with the proactive approach, we know what your direction is taking and getting out, trying to engage property owners on abating scenarios before they get to the point of our official declaration. That still leaves you ultimately constrained if, say, you've got a meeting that needs to go on with a developer, whether it's regarding the venue, which is in Plain Township, to the proposed plans coming before the zoning commission on Edgewood, and again, for the sake of identity, keeping staff in a clearly marked township vehicle, not incurring unnecessary expense or wear and tear
On personal vehicle.
on a personal vehicle. I think this makes sense. So,
We're right in that time of year where vehicle's gonna be busy.
Yeah.
Mr. Sabo, do you have anything? Roll call, please.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
And that's all I have for you.
Thank you. It's going to take us to our Parks Department. I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Steinberg.
Thank you, gentlemen. Item number 1 is the monthly report.
Item 2 of the farmer's market.
Weather was not kind, weather was the attendance because
That's
we're
always
hoping for some good
weather.
weather here.
Yeah.
First perception.
We've not, I mean, the attendance has been okay. It has not been great, but I think that given the fact that we pull into the lot, it's about 59, 60 degrees, and we pull out of the lot, it's about 44. Just starts turning folks away pretty quickly. But the market's good, I think it's sustainable. I guess I'd go into number 2 with that. We are certainly garnering some positive feedback from our vendors. As such, we've decided to extend the market Mondays 4 to 7, all the way through September 26th, not including July 4th or Labor Day, with which we'll be off. Item number 3 is just an update, and I also need just a little clarification from the board. Our ODNR grant is completed, minus 1 letter of support we expect in any moment now to send out with it. It was my understanding at the last board meeting when we sat here at the bench, I was instructed to go ahead and move forward with the Play World design as was for the purpose of submittal. I will say again, just to be clear and on the record, the Spiderweb design by Game Time was indeed incredible and probably the best feature of all of them. I think we chose Play World because of the multiple types of features that allow all ages and abilities to utilize the equipment, which is why we went with that. So if there's no change in direction in that regard, we will be submitting this week.
I'm still fully comfortable with
I am too.
the grant as written and the playground equipment that's proposed.
Okay. Then we will be submitting this week. finally, number 4, just an update. We have worked with Alarm One to install surveillance cameras at both Alpine and Veterans Parks with help of the road, help of the fire, some of their folks and their equipment, as well as Alarm One. And I'm happy to say, as of about 5:47 this evening, we are live locally. We are waiting to work on some adjustments to our routers and our firewalls to be able to go off-site with the equipment. So we can check from afar. But as of now, we are indeed recording. The parks are indeed under surveillance. I do have the signs in my office to be posted. We'll get to those ASAP. I just picked them up this afternoon to let folks know different areas of the park, based on the recommendation of Alarm One, that more is better with these signs, letting folks know we are indeed under surveillance to act as a deterrent. Further on the surveillance cameras, as of Friday afternoon, we were awarded the grant through the Start Clean Touch Joint Waste District, and they will be supplying similar cameras in feeds and setups at Yard Waste, behind the Fire Station 4, as well as the Diamond and the Salway recycling sites. They'll be going in as soon as equipment gets here, and Alarm One can indeed bring it up online for us.
Do you know, David Hope just happened to call me this evening on the way here. He said that's approximately $13,000 value as far as.
That is correct. I think it's actually just over 13,000.
So, I mean, again, thanks to the Stark Joint Solid Waste District.
Absolutely.
They have been a pretty good partner, whether it's the recent asphalt paving they laid down in front of the recyclables to this, which obviously behooves them as well. So we hopefully
Partnerships.
control and eliminate some of the waste that gets dumped. It should never be placed.
And I can tell you, after looking at these cameras, I know I've had Joe and Chief even take a peek at them when they've had an opportunity. You leave very little to the imagination with these cameras, so if something's being done, we stand a substantial chance of rectifying the situation. That's all I have.
Okay, that's going to take us a long director, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir, thank you. I have one item on the agenda this evening. It is the continuation of what it looks like being done in several pieces and parts. First T annexation, this is just another portion of that. Less than 1/10 of 1 acre is the territory at issue, and it's just continuing to kind of clean up that little area over there that Canton has been annexing the First T property over there.
Do we know, and I tried asking, we see this earlier, the last annexation they had submitted was the square of a house or something that they had acquired over there. But then I also know this board through the land bank previously had paid to have a property level right over by there. Because, and I say that knowing that one of their board members had inquired about, hey, how would we go about getting this?
I remember that.
I'm wondering if this is that parcel of property, and,
Is it that small?
it was pretty, it was the equivalent of like a garage.
Okay.
Or by a garage on it. I mean, story, I'm not intent on rejecting it, but I do have a hard time stomaching the fact that if this is that property,
Yeah.
the fact that we committed financial resources
Sure.
to demo it, to alleviate some of the blight, to only turn around and have it taken by the city of Canton. I mean, First Tee is a phenomenal program. I know it's not a nonprofit, it does this significant benefit for a lot of youth and so forth that may otherwise be getting into trouble, but I was just curious.
Yeah, so I look at this plat,
It's not the same
I don't think
annexation as
it's
last time. Joe and I thought it was the same one that they were resubmitting.
you know what it might be, because it was exactly the same acreage.
That's what we thought.
just thought that
was way too
That .0999,
Yes,
maybe they
yeah.
messed something up with their paperwork, and this is just the same one. I thought maybe there were a bunch of parcels over there in a row that were that size, but this is exactly the same. So my guess would be this is the same one they did before, and they just resubmitted it, maybe due to some technicality, because they also did it really quickly in their 3 readings, 411, 418, 425.
Is that the property that's like only 20 feet?
Can't be much more than that,
Yeah.
less than 10 of an acre.
Yeah, it looks like it's 20 feet by
That's what was
107.
the last time.
By the way, do you have any objections or desire to contest it, John?
No.
All right,
Not if it's that same property.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
all right, thank you. It's going to take some communications, I'm going to turn that over to our administrator, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you. I just have the same problem with the computer.
I'll read it.
Thank you.
We have communications, it says to Plain Local Township, I would like to thank the crew who takes care of Diamond Field. They do a very good job of keeping up with cutting grass, and the baseball diamonds are the best I've ever seen. You should be very proud of the crew. My name is Frank Guzzo, and I'm sponsored with the Stark Vipers, and it is a great feeling to play all of our home games on these fields. It looks so good. Thank you, Frank Guzzo Construction. Nice work again by
They're working their tails off. We're very proud of them.
As far as nothing else under communications, that's going to take us to a portion of the meeting. Public speaks. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the Board of Trustees with any concerns? Nothing? Okay, it's going to close public speaks. Concerns of trustees, I'm just going to note a couple things. Stark County Township Association meeting is next week. On Thursday. The Stark County Sheriff's Office is the host of that. So anybody who hasn't responded is wanting to be part of that, please respond. It's been a little bit of a pain getting the right head count recently over the last couple months for the County Township Association. We're either overbuying or underbuying the meals based on what we're telling the sponsors for. Do anticipate that, I believe, the new county township handbooks to show the elected officials, department heads and stuff, should be available at that meeting. If not, I believe they're going to be done here by the end of the month, so that's a good little resource we'll want to get our hands on and get those out to our partners as we typically do. Second item, I think for Bob and Lisa, Dave held when he left me a message and asked about getting the city of North Canton any information about the dog park, about how we went about getting it set up, any rules and policy. Their council's looking to start some discussion next week on that. And then the last item I have, I can't say this enough. I want to give a special thanks to our Stark County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Meyer, Lieutenant Springer, Major Oliver, School Resource Officer Chad Smith, Mr. Kennedy, he's also a detective.
He's a county detective.
County detective, and our own detective, Koenig. Thursday evening / Friday morning, my niece went missing for a significant period of time, and I'll tell you what, that's not the scariest thing ever in your life. The speed and response, these guys, and all hands on deck, and truly felt like top priority. And I know there's a number of other things going on in the township, but please make sure your staff knows my family's significantly grateful and indebted for how quick you were able to mobilize the resources to help us find her and get her back home. So, anything else under concerns of trustees? Oh, yes. Earth Fair next week on the 18th. They have the ribbon cutting. Unfortunately, I'm going to be stuck in St. Martin. Some sun and sand, so I'm not going to be able to make it.
I
But
definitely should have put you down for that then.
I'm hoping, I'm not looking at anybody or asking anyone specific, but can we make sure we have a representative there? That's probably one of the largest investments in Plain Township
I can actually go to vote.
that we've seen in a long time.
You'll be there, John.
There's open house the night before.
Yes, and then the morning of,
And then
it's a
6:45.
Yeah, and I think it's just important. I mean, I know we all take pride.
Yeah, they want a trustee there.
We all
more than
take pride in
anything.
Plain Township, but I mean, this is nothing against our neighboring communities. That is not North Canton,
Yeah.
which is for North Canton advertising. you know, you've got the North Canton Chamber over there. Again, it's not North Canton, the chamber does a good job of promoting the business, it's still Plain Township. So to
Will you
have our
reply
representative,
that
Yeah.
John Sabo will be there?
yeah,
Yes, you're
I
absolutely
will
right.
do that.
Mr.
So-
Chairman, just to FYI that Christian from Earth Fair had emailed me regarding supplying a fire truck at early morning on the grand opening, and we're going to have a piece of apparatus there with some personnel, so
Perfect.
we'll be there about 6:15 in the morning with that.
Thank you for that.
I'll be there.
Okay. I mean, I know the one thing, at least through some dialogue, the feedback I've got is always, you know, our township has been highly responsive to anything that they've requested or needed, and I just want to make sure we get the proper recognition as the community partner and not have it set off as, oh, we thought it was Jackson Township, we thought it was the city of North Canton, Plain Township. Nothing else on our concerns of trustees? Concerns of the fiscal officer, Mr. Wolf?
No concerns at this time.
Okay. That'll take us to the approval of the minutes for April 26, 2016, for which I will so move.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes. There is a need for executive session, so be it hereby resolved by the Plain Township Board of Trustees, Stark County, Ohio, to adjourn the executive session at 7:29 PM from this regular meeting as authorized under Ohio Revised Code 121.22G for the purpose and consideration of 1A, appointment of a public employer official, 1B, employment of a public employer official, 1F, compensation of a public employer official, 4, preparing for, conducting, or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with public employees.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Sabo?
Yes.
Mr. Hawes?
Yes.